Hello, good evening. Welcome. This is Hot Edition. We're live from news about Desawe Kanda, also live on Kesmi 107.1 in Tamale and beyond. We're live on W 93.5 in Wa and beyond. I am Alfred Ocansey.
My name is Beatrice.
This evening, government yet to announce plans to get Galamsey fight back on track despite multiple demands and suggestions by various groups. This evening, organized labor is threatening a boycott if government fails to take decisive action by end of September.
Also coming up, New Patriotic Party confirms Dr. Tia Karibu Mahama as the party's parliamentary candidate for the Wale Wale constituency. We'll bring you details.
Civil society organizations raise concern about increasing cost of political campaigning as they launch projects to monitor expenditure in the lead up to the December polls.
And much later, Ghana Bar Association gets its first female president. We'll tell you some more.
And this evening here on your Election Command Center, the Ghana Police Service has approved the NDC's September 17 protest against the Electoral Commission, agrees with the routes that the NDC also have proposed for this. We have details for you here on your Election Command Center. The New Patriotic Party has also confirmed the details of what they intend to do going forward as well. In the Wale Wale constituency, we're live on W93.5, also on Kesmi 107.1 in Tamale and beyond. We bring you the latest in business and sports in the next 1 hour, 30 minutes. Emmanuel Samani is here with the summaries of the news.
Well, thank you very much, Alfred. Now, starting off from here, the government has increased the price paid to cocoa farmers at the farm gates to 48,000 cedis per ton for the new cocoa season. Now, this translates to about 3,000 cedis per bag of 64 gross weight, and the new prices takes effect from today, September 11. Now, the new price also represents a 129% increase over the 2023-2024 opening price of 20,928 cedis per ton. Moving on, the New Patriotic Party has unanimously confirmed Dr. Tia Abdul Kabiru Mahama as the party's parliamentary candidate for the Wale Wale constituency. Now, this decision comes after the withdrawal of Lariba Zuera Abudu, the incumbent member of parliament and one of the two aspirants from the parliamentary primary contest on Tuesday. Moving on now, leadership of organized labor has threatened to stage a nationwide strike if government fails to ban all Galamsey activities by September 30. At the news conference in Accra on September 11, they vowed not to back down until the president bans all mining activities. Among others, organized labor wants the establishment of a special court to fast-track the prosecution of Galamsey operators and the development and the deployment of the military to remove and destroy all mining equipment in affected areas. Let's do some sports news and sports/politics, if you like, as former Black Stars captain Asamoah Gyan has denounced his membership of the MPP to focus on humanitarian work. In a statement posted on the social media handle on X, formerly Twitter, Ghana's record goal scorer said he has not been fair to the country's youth by being affiliated to a political party and will now be taking a step back from active politics to focus independently, contributing to empowering the youth of Ghana through the Asamoah Gyan Foundation. And the Ghana Police Service has approved the modalities for the NDC's nationwide demonstration at EC offices. The NDC's march scheduled for September 7 is to press home their demand for an audit over the voter register by the EC ahead of the general election on December 7. At a meeting on Wednesday, both parties finalized the agreements at the police headquarters.
Mano Samani, thank you. The latest summary of the news. There's more on 3news.com. Make some time and visit 3news.com. This is Hot Edition on 3 from 92.7. Let's get into the details now, as government is yet to announce plans to get the fight against illegal mining back on track after weeks of persistent demand for a quick and decisive action to deal with the issue. In the last 2 weeks, government has also been under intense pressure to tackle the illegal mining menace, also known as Galamsey, following a resurgence which has resulted in pollution of water bodies and destruction of the natural resources and environment. Groups after groups, including religious bodies, have highlighted the havoc the illicit activity has caused to rivers and forest reserves. Organized labor is the latest to join in that chorus and threatening to go on a strike if government does not halt all illegal mining activities by September 30. That's end of this month. At a news conference earlier today, Secretary General of the Trade Union Congress, Joshua Ansah, demanded the immediate declaration of a state of emergency in all areas affected by illegal mining. Let's take a listen to him.
The destruction of our environment and water bodies predates any particular regime in Ghana's Fourth Republic. Hence, the fight to restore our environmental integrity must be seen only as such and not targeted at making any regime unpopular. In other words, our resolve to fight all mining activities that undermine our very source of livelihood and leave dangerous ecological footprints is irrespective of regime. We are where we are now because of the excessive partisanship that has blinded us from seeing real problems and solving them. This is a fight against an existential threat. It can therefore not be construed to be weakening the chances of the ruling government and strengthening the opposition. Take note of that. Whether it is MPP, comrades, whether it is NDC, comrades, whether it is Movement for Change, whether it's CPP, or whoever is in power, our hatred and resolve to end Galamsey will not stop until the battle is won. Today, brothers and sisters, 11 September 2024, the leadership of organized labor met to discuss the growing menace of illegal mining and the dangers it poses to the Ghanaian society. Organized labor has followed the ongoing spirited public discussions on illegal mining, that is Galamsey, and its consequential destruction of our forest cover, water bodies, and ecology. Health hazard, which is the severe health risk that has been posed to communities living near Galamsey sites, such as exposure to toxic chemicals like mercury and cyanide, including increase in respiratory and waterborne diseases due to polluted air and water, among other negative impacts. It is now clear to us, as it is to all well-meaning Ghanaians, that the menace of Galamsey has reached a crisis proportion. The depletion of our forest cover has never been this rapid. The destruction of our water bodies is at an unprecedented scale. Our entire ecosystem is on the precipice.
That's the Secretary General of the Trade Union Congress, Joshua Ansah. Among others, organized labor wants the establishment of a special court to fast-track the prosecution of Galamsey operators and the deployment of the military to remove and destroy all mining equipment in affected areas. And they also warned that if no concrete measures are taken by the end of September, workers will have no choice but to embark on a series of demonstrations and a nationwide strike to force the government's hand. On his part, the Executive Secretary of the Civil and Local Government Staff Association of Ghana, CLOGSAC, and Chair of the Forum, Dr. Isaac Bampuado, condemned the involvement of political appointees and politicians in illegal mining.
Organized labor demands immediate actions from the President of the Republic as follows. 1, we demand an immediate declaration of state of emergency in line with the provisions of the 1992 Constitution, Articles 31 and 31(4). And the declaration must incorporate the following. A, an order to halt to all forms of mining, that legal or illegal, in forest reserves and around water bodies. B, immediate evacuation of all mining equipment in forest reserves and around water bodies. C, the deployment of the police and the military with full orders, and I want to repeat, with full orders, to remove, destroy all mining equipment and other earth-moving equipment around river bodies and in the forest reserves. We demand, 2, the immediate revocation of LI 2462 and withdrawal of all licenses that have been granted for prospecting and mining in forests and protected reserves and also around water bodies. 3, we demand the president to establish a special court to persecute the perpetrators of this horrible, heinous crime. Organized labor will urgently embark on a series of demonstrations and a nationwide strike if government fails to address.
Well, so that's how the situation looks like. Let's see a bit further on this, because a number of groups that are also joining in and asking for some decisive action be taken against illegal mining. In fact, we just received a statement from the Center for Climate Change and Food Security, adding to the growing calls for a ban on small-scale mining, both legal and illegal activities. In a statement that we just received, the Center for Climate Change and Food Security projects that the country is heading for an ecological catastrophe with dire consequential threats to socio-economic well-being. At this rate, they say Ghana is likely going to be inhabitable for humans in the next few years, since all the basic essentials for sustaining human life is being destroyed by Galamsey. Now, Thomas Musa Tanko is the General Secretary of the Ghana National Association of Teachers. He's joining us on the telephone for a quick conversation. Mr. Tanko, appreciate your time. Good evening. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you, Alfred. Good evening, and good evening to all your listeners.
I get the sense that now we've come to the point again that Galamsey has become a topical issue. And for many who are listening to this, it's been a period of no action, talk only. When the groups come on and we all condemn it, the media gives a space for a conversation on this matter. What is going to be done differently to ensure that we don't get back to the point where this season of talk ends and then we move on to something else?
Thank you very much, my brother. We are now between life and death. We are now between life and death, and we need to choose one. We can't choose two. We can't choose two. Life, because anytime you mention water, we say water is life. Galamsey, because when we talk about Galamsey, we are talking about death. So if we choose Galamsey, we are choosing death. And if we choose water, we are choosing life. And that is why we are now. Now, the question is that why have we kept quiet for all this while? We needed to give His Excellency the benefit of hindsight, because the President promised us that if he is not able to, stop this Galamsey, he is ready to put his presidency on the line. And we all believed him for it. And so where we are now, it is clear that the thing has gone beyond. See, it's like we'll be tempted to say that it looks like Jubilee House today has lost control over this particular thing. That's the Galamsey menace. So we are now confronted between life and death. And to that extent, we are saying that we and our children, families, we will choose life. And because we will choose life, this time around, we are going to do things for everybody to take us serious. And before I get there, let me give you some few statistics. We are told that 880,000 children are born every year. That is from the National Development Planning Commission's report. The question is, these children, when they are born, what water do we have for them to drink? Number two, these same children born between the ages of 5 to 17 years, 21% of them are into child labor. It means out of every 5 children, you see, one is into child labor. The remaining 4 that they are coming to school, a significant number of them are no longer coming to school because they have to go and look for water. And those also, the remaining in the school now, their brains have been affected because of the pollution and the dilution, and because of the chemicals. It has affected their brains. And we as teachers, we deal with the cognitive, the affective, and the psychomotor domains, because when the children come, we need to train them. Now, can you imagine that you have these children seated before you, and because of the chemicals, their brains have been affected? What will be their future? Remember, the World Bank in 2018 told us that if we don't do anything about our education, and for that matter, let me even add the environment, that by the year 2035, that means 18 years' time, what is going to happen is that 56% of our children will go waste. Can we afford that? So when we are, and the worst of it is that these children, then we end up saying that we'll prepare nutritious meal for them so that they can eat. Can the mind that has been damaged by mercury, can that nutritious meal restore it? Certainly not. Certainly not. So where we are now, we are not going to treat it like as business as usual. No. We have given His Excellency up to the ending of this particular month. If the state of emergency is not declared, the organized labor, we will start rolling out our actions. And we believe that when that actions start, nobody will tell His Excellency that we mean business this time. And we believe that we will not be pushed to roll out those actions. And we are all expecting that His Excellency will invoke Article 31, Clause 9, A and B. In fact, the A says that when there is in a particular area, and the people, particularly Ghanaians, they are deprived of essential to life, things that the basic things to life or the basic necessities to life, they are denied of it. And the second aspect, the second point of call or need was that if there is a need for public safety, then state of emergency can be declared, among other things. And so we believe that the lives of the people is at stake here because we are dealing with the basic necessity of life, and that is water. And the next one is the security of the people, which must be protected. So we are calling upon His Excellency to invoke Article 31 by putting in place state of emergency, so that together we'll get it done. But if it is not done by the ending of this month, Alfred, I can assure you, organized labor will respond appropriately. And whatever happens, the powers that be should blame themselves.
Okay, so you're giving end of the month as a deadline, or else you're going to go on strike. What are the specific actions that you expect government to take to avert this strike that you have given notice of right now?
Alfred, you are dealing with the entire workforce in Ghana. You are dealing together with our wives and children. And I earlier mentioned it to you that in Ghana today, the expected number of births every year is approximately 880,000. And so if you look at the total population, the workers we are talking about, it's about 700,000, plus our families and all that. That is the number. And can you imagine the organized labor saying that, like it happened previously in the hotels? We declared a nationwide strike, and we are believing now we will not be pushed to the wall. And I have always had a saying that, look, lead us not into temptation. Alfred, let me borrow the words of the revered Reverend Minister Lawrence Tete. He has a saying that this nonsense must stop. And for that matter, this nonsense, which is this time around the Galamsey, I say that this Galamsey nonsense must stop.
Mr. Tanko, I do appreciate your time. And look, the end of the month that you've given is just some 20 days away from today. So we'll see.
Certainly. There will be action.
There'll be action. Wait for that.
Certainly.
Wait for that. And I thank you. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you very much. God bless you.
Bless you too. Thomas Musa Tanko is General Secretary of the Ghana National Association of Teachers, NAT, and a number of groups have been talking about this. Engineer Dr. Kenashigbe leads the Media Coalition Against Illegal Mining. Was a press conference earlier today where he has also indicated that if things continue at this rate of destruction, we'll start licking clay as water if we don't act now to help Galamsey.
Now as well. If we don't act now, we'll start licking clay as water. So I think the president ought to hear it. That now we are resolute in our ask. So as we've said, we are working in tandem, the media, we're going to be working in tandem with the labor unions. So definitely there are going to be some demonstrations that are going to happen. There's a strike.
Also, the Ghana Journalists Association president has also been speaking at this same venue, indicating the resolve of the media to continue supporting the fight against illegal mining.
The president must declare a state of emergency over our water bodies and get the military to clear everyone found on the water bodies. i.e. mining on the water bodies is illegal, and as we all know. 2, all planned and active mining concessions overlapping with river buffers should be abrogated, and all mining activities within 100 meters buffer of all rivers and streams should be halted immediately by the president. Failure of which the president must implement the full force of Act 995 without fear or favor of political color and status in the society. 3, almost all water bodies take their sources from the forest reserves. So all entry permits given to mine in protected globally significant biodiversity areas, JSBAs, must also be abrogated. 4, repeal LI 2462 immediately. 5, all the presidential candidates of the political parties vying for elections should publicly declare their total support for this crisis response. These demands will be reviewed in a fortnight, i.e. 2 weeks, to see what actions have been taken, and our next line of action will be communicated to the media.
As the president of the Ghana Journalists Association there, Albert Jumfor, and still on this matter, the president of the Ghana Catholic Bishops Conference, Most Reverend Matthew Kwesi Gyamfi, has also urged political parties not to play politics with the lives of Ghanaians. According to him, the complicity of political leaders, some chiefs, and the lack of political will has worsened the illegal mining crisis we're facing now. So speaking at a press briefing by the Media Coalition Against Illegal Mining, earlier today, Reverend Gyamfi called on political parties to unite in addressing the increasing activities of Galamsey.
Of environmental protection laws, their enforcement has been weak and inconsistent. Corruption, complicity of political leaders, some chiefs, and the lack of political will have further exacerbated the problem, allowing illegal mining to thrive unchecked. We wish to state that Ghanaians can no longer tolerate the lip service of government of whatever color in the fight against Galamsey. And we call for action not tomorrow, but now, and right from this press conference.
As the president of Ghana Catholic Bishops Conference, Most Reverend Matthew Kwesi Gyamfi.
Let's bring you some politics now. And the National Executive Committee of the New Patriotic Party has unanimously confirmed Dr. Tia Abdul Karibu Mahama as the party's parliamentary candidate for the Wale Wale constituency. This confirmation follows a meeting held today in Accra. Now, remember that on Tuesday, the incumbent Member of Parliament for the area, Hajia Lariba Zuwera Abudu, withdrew her candidature from the parliamentary primary contest after the election ended inconclusively as a result of violent clashes among party supporters. In attendance at the meeting on Wednesday, that's early today, was the rank and file of the party, including President Akufo-Addo, Vice President and flag bearer of the MPP, Dr. Mahmoud Baumia, and Chief of Staff Fremo Pare. The chairman of the MPP, Stephen Intim, after the NEC meeting in Accra, also said that all issues related within Koko confusion have been resolved, whilst disgruntled members breaking away as independent candidates, including Cynthia Morrison, are in the line of being consulted.
We have resolved it. David Asante has been on standby to hear something like maybe there will be a next primary or something like that. But that's not the candidates. Two of them, right? One step down and the other is going. Well, independent. Even the day before the general election, you can get them to step down.
Has there been any deliberate discussions with Cynthia Morrison?
We are working on Cynthia One Central, right?
Yeah.
She's a party member, committed party member. She may be aggrieved in one way or the other.
Yeah.
We are going to impress upon her to drop it. Friday is the closing date, but that is immaterial as far as getting an independent person candidate to step down. So even after Friday, we can still get her to step down.
So, would you say this meeting really was a fruitful discussion?
Oh, yes, very much so. That's why I'm able to engage with you to answer your questions.
Okay.
And you heard the chairman of the NPP speaking earlier to 3FM, Stephen Intim. We're joined by William Evans Inkum. He's our Northern Bureau Chief. He's been in Wale Wale even before that Saturday clash. William, what can you tell us from there?
Well, so this is not a surprise to many, especially some of the delegates and, of course, most constituents who are, one would say, have a soft spot or supporters of the ruling New Patriotic Party. And I quite remember on the day of elections, a number of them were at the voting center to throw their support behind Kabiru. Even when the sorting was being done, there were wild jubilation. Even though we didn't get access to the voting center, but those of his agents were also communicating to his supporters outside that he was winning, and there were wild allegations. The more reason why when the whole thing was interrupted and the police were transporting the tampered with ballot boxes or papers from the voting center to a safer place, there were some resistance. So I can tell you that most of the people here are happy about this particular announcement. They feel that he is the one who can retain the seat for the MPP in the Wale Wale, as far as the Wale Wale constituency is concerned.
Most people are happy, you say. How about the supporters of Hajia who had to withdraw from the race yesterday?
Well, they have not openly expressed discontent. In fact, most of them haven't been speaking. Even ever since Hajia, that was yesterday when Hajia made an announcement that she has, withdrawn from this particular contest. From some of their faces, they are not happy. But honestly, they are also not kind of coming out with any open statement to say that they disagree with the position of the National Executive Council of the party.
Prior to this, the atmosphere had been very tense. Yesterday when we spoke, for instance, you talked about reinforcement of security personnel, both military and the police. How is that looking like today?
Well, it was, the voting centers that were seeing some level of chaos. Wale Wale was very calm. The people were going about their normal life and what have you. So it has been very, very calm. I mean, since yesterday when the security was able to tame the situation, it has been very, very calm.
Have you had any response yet from the man who's been confirmed, Dr. Tia Abdul Kabiru Mahama?
No, but we understand that he's going to hold a press conference pretty soon.
All right, thank you very much, William Evans Inkum. He is our Northern Bureau Chief. We also do have on the line Dr. Gbensuglo Ali Bukari. He is a senior lecturer, Political Science Department with the UDS. Good evening to you, sir. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you. Good evening to you and good evening to your listeners. And thank you for having me.
Yesterday when we spoke on the Midday News, you talked about the need for the MPP to withdraw both candidates from this race. Well, today, the party has confirmed Dr. Kabiru, and it seems the people are happy. How do you react to this?
Thank you. Just listen to your news reporter in Walwale. Confirming Dr. Kabiru Muhammad doesn't mean unity in the party as we speak now. Yes, we accepted that he was the one who won the first, and then the incumbent took him to court, and the court asked that they should be rerun. It's very clear that the one competing him withdrew. Definitely, the party thought that he's the one they should consider. But many of us have different opinions. Because as we speak in Walwale, they are in 10 position. Of course, once it's confirmed, he has a duty to bring on board Hajia Laba and her team to join hands and then and fight. The election. So fine, I think it's okay. We just wish that he's able to unite the party, and then they move forward from there.
You say that he being confirmed doesn't mean there is unity in the party. How difficult or otherwise will it be for him to do exactly what you're saying now?
Very good. Provided the incumbent is willing to open up. Otherwise, I'm sorry, the members of her team are disillusioned that is content with the issues unfold for the period. So, and especially look at what happened on the voting day. So I think it's surprising. But of course, he should just extend a hand of invitation, and then I think it will work if he's able to do that. Otherwise, I'm sorry. I think the lady, the incumbent, should also talk to her people, and then they join hands with Dr. Kabiru, who is now the candidate on the ticket for MPP, and compete against the NDC candidate. So anything shortfall of this, I'm sorry, they may not be able to go into this election with the unity front.
And in fact, we understand that both candidates were expected to be in Accra as part of this emergency meeting that was held today, so they could have a conversation with them, and she didn't show up. Beyond this meeting, how do you expect the national leadership to deal with this? Because I know yesterday you had some hard words for the vice president.
Yeah, so exactly what I'm saying. What happened yesterday, I'm still repeating the word, was a conditional withdrawal. There was power behind her to withdraw and all that kind of stuff. It's not the wish of the incumbent to withdraw from that race. So why would you want her to be in Accra for? You want her to withdraw. She has withdrawn for a pay way for who you prefer. So now the one who you prefer should extend that hand of invitation and should be able to bring them on board. That's what I see. Otherwise, it will be very difficult for Kabiru to win the seat.
Well, thank you very much, Dr. Gbensuglo Ali Bukari. He is a senior lecturer with the Political Science Department of the University of Development Studies. Thank you.
Thank you for having me.
It's live here on Hot Edition on 3FM 92.7. Also live on Kesmi 107.1 in Tamale and beyond. We're live on W 93.5 in Wa and beyond. We remain your election command center. It's 87 days December 7, 2024, election day, the Ghana Police Service has approved the opposition National Democratic Congress's planned demonstration against the Electoral Commission on Tuesday, September 17. That's exactly some 7 days away from today. That's 6 days away from today. The General Secretary of the party, Fifi Fiavikwete, revealed this in an address to the media at the Electoral Commission headquarters after a meeting between the leadership of the party and the Accra Regional Police Command. Fifi Kwete said that the Regional Police Command agreed with all the proposed routes for the demonstration. He noted that the party sought confirmation of the exact starting point and end point for the demonstration, which was agreed upon.
Bosses, and the agreement is that we are going to proceed with our demonstration on the 17th of this month. That's next Tuesday. And it's going to happen not just in Greater Accra, but in all the other regions of the country at the same time. We wanted to have a confirmation about the endpoints. In terms of the routes, we had an agreement that we're going to start from the Kwame Nkrumah Circle, proceed through to Farisco, continue through TUC, continue through the ministries and come all the way to Parliament, and then end up in front of the premises of the Electoral Commission. We wanted to have the exact location. That's why we came in the police to come and see exactly where it is we wanted to have the termination point, and we've been able to agree on that as well. Generally, in terms of the importance of this demonstration, is to say that it is something that is beyond the NDC. It's a critical election ahead of Ghana. It is in everybody's interest to ensure that especially the register that's going to be in the center of this whole election is credible. It's one that everybody can have absolute confidence in. We've had clear instances to say that there are issues, and we are pressing for forensic audit to be done, and that actually is the reason why we want to embark on this demonstration. The NCO just rightly said, if there is really nothing to hide, then there should really be no problem at all. You should be able to open your door and say, listen, come and check and be certain that there's nothing, in order for the whole country to proceed knowing that everything is okay. So generally, that's what it is. We are asking the whole of the country to join this demonstration. It's critical for our peace. It's critical for our the very safety of our elections, to ensure that this country is able to go to election and come out in one piece. It's critical. So really, that's why we are going on this demonstration.
So the police have given you the all clear?
Absolutely. Yes. Okay. Absolutely.
Thank you.
That's Fifi Kwete there, the General Secretary of the NDC, addressing the media after the meeting with the Ghana Police Service earlier today. So the starting point for the demonstration next week, Tuesday, is the Kwame Nkrumah Circle. Proceed through Farisco traffic light, through to TUC, continue through to the ministries, and come all the way to Parliament, and end up in front of the premises of the Electoral Commission. That's the route that's approved by the Ghana Police Service.
Let's stay on election-related issues. On civil society organizations have launched a monitoring mission to track expenditure, abuse of state resources and vote buying in the 2024 presidential election, as it reveals abuse of state resources by incumbent governments persists. Now, the project will collaborate with the Office of the Special Prosecutor to ensure that state assets are not used for personal interest. The CSOs, comprising of the Ghana Integrity Initiative, Ghana Anti-Corruption Coalition, the Center for Democratic Development, CDD Ghana, and partners. Now, the problem of the rising cost of party and campaign financing has gotten worse over the last 3 decades, while the quality of governance has deteriorated. CDD Ghana 2021 report revealed also that cost of contesting a parliamentary seat from aspiring to candidate is estimated at $693,000, and a presidential candidate estimated to cost about $100 million. Now, senior election specialist at the International Foundation for Electoral Systems, Gilbert Sam, called for a comprehensive reform of party and campaign financing regime in Ghana.
If we go that way, then our democracy is becoming exclusive for some class of people, and we think that is not democracy. Because if a woman or a young person cannot raise certain amount of money, that means that the person cannot participate in our electoral process and win election and become part of our decision-making process. And that is why we are here today. If we look at money in politics, we are not just looking at the supply side, we are looking at the demand side. And by the demand side, what am I talking about? I'm talking about those of us, citizens, who are ready to sell our vote to our candidates so that they can win election. And we do it in many forms. People ask for T-shirt, TNT, so that they could vote for a particular candidate. We are saying that if you do that, you are also selling your conscience, and you are also allowing what we all want to prevent to happen. That is the governance of this country being exclusively for the rich. And I think that that is what we are not happy, or we don't want it to happen in this country.
And you heard there Gilbert Som, he's Senior Election Specialist at the International Foundation for Electoral Systems. Mariada is the Executive Director, Ghana Integrity Initiative. She joins us live on the line. Good evening to you, ma'am. Thank you for joining us.
Good evening, Beatrice, and thank you for having me, and good evening to your cherished listeners.
Campaign financing and incumbency abuse. Why has this become an issue now?
Oh, it's always been an issue for us. It is an issue because, number one, we have a regulation, or the regulations within which we operate are weak. We also have a system where we do not see a lot of sanctioning going on, and so for that matter, it's a big issue to deal with. We have a regulation that does not spell out limits to our contributions that we make. It is also a gray area when it comes to who is to donate. The Political Parties Act talks about Ghanaians, but then if a Ghanaian has an international body, or it has a company, who is then donating? Again, we have issues around vote buying when it comes to voting, and citizens increasingly are making it a demand and supply issue. And then also we have issues around incumbency abuse and the thin line within which we should be operating to ensure that we are separating both issues. So it is very important that as we do not understand, or as we have these gaps, we need to continuously engage to ensure that the ultimate goal for all of us is to see that we have a regime. It could be a law or a very strong policy to regulate campaigns, and also ensure that we are able to determine which activities of the incumbents are pure public activities and which are their interested political party campaign activities. And then also put in some more stiffer sanctions to ensure that people who contravene the regimes are dealt with and dealt with appropriately.
I would like you to tell us a bit more about what you're doing, this very project, but let me just stay a bit longer on this very issue. How prevalent is it now? We're just about 4 months to go into this major election.
Beatrice, at the last count, our partner, the CDD Ghana and Westminster, did a study recently, not too long ago, that showed that campaign financing is a challenge. It spoke to, if you look at the amounts you need to be able to put together to prosecute this agenda, it's in the thousands of dollars or the $10,000s of dollars. And if you are looking at the presidential candidates, it's millions and millions, 100 million or so. And so if you hear these, And then you know also that the fact remains that what the person who is securing these votes is going to do is to serve the public and protect the public purse. Then it is worrying that those who would donate to get these amounts for those who are standing for public office would certainly be looking for a quid pro quo relationship. And so they are expecting that when they invest, they would be able to recoup some of the investments they have made. So the fight against corruption would continue to suffer if we do not look at the issues around campaign financing and put some caps and limits to it. Again, you realize that when it comes to abuse of state resources, you see on a daily basis during elections, the state machinery being turned into political party machinery, and we are not recouping or gaining any benefits from it. In other jurisdictions, if the state, if the president or anybody in the incumbent is utilizing state resources, they pay for them. In Ghana, we do not have that. There is a thin line, and it's increasingly becoming blurred. We see public activities like commissioning of small little boreholes in communities. We see commissioning of roads being turned into party affairs, where you see party paraphernalia being used to decorate. People make statements that are in a way speaking for the incumbent government at the expense of the opposition, who would not have the same opportunity to do so. Increasingly as well, we have seen vote buying take on very humongous proportions, and it is done so openly now without any fear, and they are beginning to even dab it TNT. During the primaries, you witnessed some and captured some on TV and also on radio. And we have done some follow-ups on this, and it is becoming a worrying trend. That is why we believe that at this juncture, we need to pause, reflect, and put in place mechanisms to strengthen what we have already, the Constitution in Article 55 and the Political Parties Act at 574. It is critical for all of us.
Critical for you, you say, but I just want to find out briefly from you how you think this monitoring mission to track expenditure, abuse of state resources and vote buying would work going into 2024.
Oh, it would work very well. We've done it before, and usually what we would do is to select a group of people who have done this before, so they have the credibility, they have the past experience and also expertise of engaging. The recruitment process is done in such a way that it is open. We give people the opportunity to do so. And after recruitment, we make them sign onto a pledge. So they are vowing to do the right things to capture good information. We then deploy them into the field. And in this case, we have over 110 constituencies where they will be monitoring the 3 different aspects of the project. And so we are not putting this out because it is for the monitoring purpose. So we and the selection of the constituencies is based on a methodology. We put together a criteria looking at the big constituencies, looking at regional representation, looking at geographical as well, talking about the north-south divide. We also looking at constituencies which have swung. We're looking at constituencies where there is stiffer competition and constituencies where people generally pay attention to because there are issues around peace that come up there. Again, we are able to then put together a report. And in this case, we have technical persons who engage. And we also have the media component, media biasing, where they would be documenting these instances. And so if you look at
I'm sorry, we'll have to end it here. Thank you very much, Mariada, Executive Director, Ghana Integrity Initiative. We're grateful for speaking to us. And you're still here on Hot Edition on 3FM 92.7. Michael Ogbodu is standing by with the latest in business. Don't go away.
Well, hello there. Good evening. It's time now for the business segment on Hot Edition. Coming up tonight, Ghana's inflation rate continues downward trend, easing to 20.4% in August. I am Michael Ogbodu. I'll bring you details of this and more shortly. Please stay. Let's head straight into our top story as Ghana's inflation rate has slowed down to 20.4% in August 2024, a slight decrease from the previous month's rate of 20.9%. This marks the fifth consecutive month of decline since April 2024, with the Ghana Statistical Service attributing the slowdown to reduced food inflation. Although inflation remains above the central bank's target of 6 to 10%, this downward trend is a positive sign for the economy.
Disaggregating this from a food and non-food inflation perspective, non-food inflation was 21.5% for the month of August 2024, relative to food inflation 19.1% for the month of August 2024. From a regional perspective, the Upper East region recorded the highest overall rate of inflation of 27.8%, and the Northeast region recorded the lowest rate of inflation of 10.1%. Disaggregating from a locally produced item and an imported item perspective, we recorded a 6.1 percentage point difference between inflation on locally produced items and inflation on imported items, with inflation on locally produced items 22.2% and inflation on imported items 16.1%. We see a marginal increase in inflation on imported items from 15.6% to 16.1%, a 0.5 percentage upward difference, while we see a decline for inflation on locally produced items, declining from 23.3% to 22.2%, indicating a 1.1 percentage point decline for inflation on locally produced items.
So that was government statistician Professor Samuel Kobna-Eni. Meanwhile, non-food inflation, however, saw some 0.7 percentage point increase in inflation to 21.5% in August 2024 from 20.5% in July 2024. Away from that, co-chair of the Ghana Extractive Industry Transparency Initiative, Dr. Steve Mantiao, has expressed concerns over the decline in Ghana's oil production, warning it could come to a halt in 15 years. The latest report from the Public Interest and Accountability Committee, PIAC, reveals a consistent drop in crude oil production over the past 4 years from 71.44 million barrels in 2019 to 48.25 million barrels in 2023. This decline is attributed to the industry's inability to attract necessary investments.
First is the size of our blocks. This point came to attention when ExxonMobil left the Ghana oil industry and made the point that our block sizes are small. Other reasons cited for the lack of investments in the oil sector is also the poor quality nature of our seismic data. Okay. A lot of the companies have complained about regulatory uncertainties and sometimes the capricious manner in which we impose new fiscal rules or terms. So, for instance, some have said that, look, they sometimes will plan their financials. They go to bed, they wake up in the morning, and the government has read the budget, imposing 1% development levy, which is not recoverable. When that happens, it throws out all their financial projections in respect of their returns. And so it's not too good for financial planning. Some of them have also complained that when things like this happen, they would sometimes flout their stability agreements, and government would just brush this aside and insist that they pay. It is no wonder that we've had a record number of litigations.
So So that was co-chair of Ghana Extractive Industry Transparency Initiative, Dr. Steve Mantel there. Now, the Ghana Employers Association is urging employees to support their organization's growth to ensure continued employment. Chief Executive Alex Frimpong emphasized the need for increased commitment from employees amidst economic challenges affecting businesses. This call to action comes as concerns rise about low wages and salaries during economic difficulties. He addressed these issues at the 6th Annual General Meeting in Accra.
It is not only workers who are suffering. Employers are also in difficult times. And I can assure you that if employers are not able to resolve their problems, they will not be able to survive to pay the little that employees think they are being paid. So this is the time that we also have to advise employees to change their attitude and support businesses to stabilize and grow. Because if businesses don't thrive and grow, I'm not sure we can be in employment. Yes, we concede that times are hard, but this is the time that we need to get out of it by working together to overcome these problems.
So that was Chief Executive of the Ghana Employers Association, Alex Frimpong, bringing an end to the business segment on Hot Edition. For more business stories, please check out our website. It's 3news.com/business. I am Michael Obodu. Thank you for listening. As always, please stay safe.
When it comes to the world of sports, what does complete mean to you?
When my team scores at the end of a 30-plus passing sequence, like Pep Guardiola style.
When someone beats the buzzer from a shot from the logo, like Steph Curry.
Dominating opponents and punching my way to a knockout, like Africa's greatest boxer, Azuma Nelson.
Running so fast that I can afford to celebrate midway through a 100-meter race and smash the world record like Usain Bolt.
Hold up. What makes all of these sports complete is the screen. This is where you get access to extensive analysis, insights, and highlights.
So join us every Sunday at 6 p.m. live on 3FM 92.7 as we serve you the most satisfying buffet in the world of sports. The 3 Sports team will come together to review, preview, and analyze the latest in sports on Sports Ultras.
Good evening and it's time for sports here on Hot Edition. My name is Kelvin Owusu-Antan. Let's begin from the CAF Coaches Symposium that will be coming up on Thursday. It is going to be an exciting one for all the African coaches to have a very good deliberation on the next big things to happen to African football. Let's not forget that there is going to be the event in Abidjan, Cote d'Ivoire for Thursday and Friday. 50 coaches from CAF's member association. Well, the key attendees are MS5 from Cote d'Ivoire, Jose Pesaro from Nigeria, Avram Grant, who is with Zambia, Sebastian Desabere from DR Congo, Otto Addo from Ghana, Colin Benjamin from Namibia, and the symposium will analyze the performance of national teams during the Total Energies Cup of Nations 2023, widely regarded as the most successful AFCON in the competition's history. So there's a lot for the coaches to look up to. Now let's get to Accra Heart of Folk. And the Heart of Folk has emphatically denied reports suggesting that coach Abubakar Ouattara has been given a 5-game ultimatum to retain his position. The speculation arose from following a disappointing start to the season, highlighted by 1-0 home defeat to newly promoted Baseke Holy Stars. In a statement released on Wednesday, the Phobians emphasized this unwavering support for Ouattara, dismissing claims of any ultimatum. The club, on the contrary, is urging fans to stand firmly behind the coach and the team as the season evolves. House of Folk will play against Pando Heart of Lions on Sunday at the Pando Stadium. Now let's move on to former England boss Gareth Southgate, and he has revealed his next plans for the upcoming year. Well, he's been speaking with a lot more focus on what he wants to do, but he wants to quickly refresh himself before getting back into coaching.
I've got lots of opportunities. I'm very open-minded to what's next. That might be in football, that might be outside of football. I'm just going to take some time, refresh, recharge, and go from there. No, I think at the moment people know that I need to get some energy back. I'm intent on enjoying my life. I'm not going to rush into anything. I want to make sure that I make good decisions. And as I say, there's lots of different experiences that I'm enjoying, a bit like today. Got some charities that I want to support, which are very important to me. But also there's, as I said, opportunities outside of football as well that I'm also quite interested in.
Well, he's not quite interested in that. Now let's move on to James Maddison, and he's looking ahead to the North London derby between Arsenal and then Tottenham Hotspur. Well, he believes and explains how much the game means to every side in the London as they hope to see the bragging rights go back to that is the white side of North London.
So, yeah, firstly, we know what it means to them and how big it is to them, and how much just literally one game can affect 6 months bragging rights within families, you know. And it starts with the build-up to it, the media stuff, this sort of stuff, talking about it. It normally means there's a derby around the...
So that was from James Maddison on the games that will be coming up. Now let's move on to Cristiano Ronaldo, and he has criticized that is a former Manchester United player and boss. Also, Ronaldo started by hitting out at Ten Hag and explaining that the coach says they cannot compete to win the Premier League, the Champions League. He said to Rio Ferdinand during his present podcast, as Manchester United coach, you cannot say that you are not going to fight to win the Champions League or the league. Cristiano Ronaldo has criticized Ten Hag, and he has been under pressure after United's 8th place finish last season, their lowest in Premier League history, and 2 defeats in their opening 3 games in the start of this campaign. Now to Arsenal, and the captain Martin Odegaard is set to be out for at least 3 weeks with an ankle injury, according to Norway's team doctor. Olasan said there is probably no fracture to Odegaard's left ankle, which he injured while playing for Norway on Monday, but he has also added that an absence of less than 3 weeks would be just a bonus. Odegaard limped off during Norway's Nations League win over Austria on Tuesday as the 25-year-old midfielder returned to London the next morning, where he underwent an MRI scan. Arsenal have said that manager Mikel Arteta will provide an update during his news conference on Friday before Sunday's North London derby. So a lot more happening at Arsenal. Let's move on to Chelsea, and Chelsea have 2 owners wanting to buy each other out, whilst neither wants to sell amid a rift at the heart of the club. Well, in one corner is Todd Bailey, often mischaracterized as the main man and the decision maker of the ownership, mainly because he had a very public facing role when Chelsea was taken over. Bailey, who also owns the LA Dodgers baseball team, was first revealed in a Bloomberg report last week to want to buy out his rivals, a clearly capital. So the other corner is Bedad Egbali, who is really the most active and powerful figure at Stamford Bridge as co-founder of private equity firm Clearlake, the company which owns a majority 61.5% stake in the club. He's aligned with fellow Clearlake co-founder Jose E. Feliciano as powerful figures who are adamant that they do not want to sell and are only looking to increase their stake. So those are the issues going on there. Jose Mourinho has been speaking about Victor Osimhen and why he refused to sign the striker when Napoli wanted to offload him. Osimhen has since joined Galatasaray, and Mourinho explained why he doesn't want Osimhen in his team.
I don't have problems with Victor. In fact, we have a very good relation. But every time I play against him, I speak with him because I don't like the way he behaves. He dives too much. And the last time we played Roma against Napoli, I had this conversation with him and I told him, look, you are one of the two best African players. It's you and Salah. In the past, Didier Drogba, Samuel Eto'o, George Weah. You cannot behave like this. He dives too much. And that's my problem with him. But after 10 minutes, we are fine. We have a very good relation. And for the Turkish league, is fantastic. And for Galatasaray, of course, is fantastic too.
So that is there from that is Jose Mourinho. But Mauricio Pochettino has been unveiled as the new United States boss. Well, Christian Pulisic has been speaking on the impact he's going to have on the team.
Yeah, I think obviously difficult results for us, and it's not a great feeling. But I think moving forward, it's time to turn a page, and we really have to pick it up a level. I mean, everyone that's a part of this, and it feels pretty low right now, but I know that there's better times ahead. Yeah, I think just hopefully a culture that is willing to fight, that is willing to take risks, win. I mean, there's a lot of things that need to change, and just in the mentality and the culture of the group. I think we have the quality, but I know hopefully that that's the first thing that he's gonna want to change.
Thank you, Christian.
So that is there from Christian Pulisic. Well, but there will be some under 20 Women's World Cup playoffs. Ghana has hesitated, but Colombia will be playing against South Korea at 1 a.m. There is also Mexico against the United States. That would also be coming up at 1 a.m. So those are the games that will be coming up in there. And 20 Honduras suffered a 2-1 loss at the hands of Jamaica. Antonio and then Daniel Maldonado managed to get Jamaica the goals to put them in a very good place. So Canada will be playing against Mexico in an international friendly. Well, the game is over and it ended goalless. My name is Kelvin Olson, so that's all for sports here on Hot Edition. Beatrice takes over.
And you're still here on Hot Edition on 3FM 92.7. Thank you very much, Kelvin Owusu-Ansah, for bringing us the latest in sports. let's bring you some more here because the Ministry of Lands and Natural Resources has issued a statement on this ongoing fight against illegal mining. I'll just go ahead and read that to you. It says the Minister for Land and Natural Resources, Honorable Samuel Abujinapo MP, together with officials of the ministry, had extensive engagement with regional ministers to review our ongoing efforts at dealing with the canker of illegal small-scale mining. The meeting adopted additional measures at tackling the age-old national problem of illegal small-scale mining, Galamsey, through a comprehensive approach. The government will continue with the dual strategy of reformative measures and strict enforcement. The regional ministers, alongside their representative regional security councils, have been mandated to intensify enforcement actions within their various jurisdictions to contain incident of illegal small-scale mining. Additionally, the Minerals Commission will enhance our reformative efforts, particularly through ramping up the establishment of responsible and legal community mining schemes which have regard to the preservation of our nation's environment and landscape. The government remains steadfast and committed to continue to restore order and ensure that mining activities are conducted sustainably and legally in the national interest. We entreat all and sundry to support these efforts to enable us protect our environment, preserve our water bodies and ensure a sustainable future for generations to come. While government warmly welcomes the heightened interest in this all-important national issue, we urge the discourse to be devoid of partisanship so as to enable us galvanize the needed national and collective support to root out this canker. And you're still here on Hot Traditional 3FM 92.7. Welcome to Campaign Trail. On Campaign Trail tonight, the new Patriotic Party parliamentary candidate for the Esuojaman constituency, Pius Hajide, has pledged to help young people in his constituency travel to the United States for the 2026 World Cup if he wins the 2024 parliamentary election. Addressing supporters at a rally, Mr. Hajide emphasized his connections with the sports ministry, which he believes will enable him to assist the youth in securing travel opportunities to America and beyond. He was campaigning in the Esuojaman constituency. Take a listen to exactly what he said.
Australia, na uko Australia. 18 hours. Enukrano nipabi etumi di mechi yako. World Cup eba. Ayeba bebo afifufro ayeba be wuremu yi. Ye bebo no ewa America. Enunu 7 hours pe na we do America. Nananum semu pese mu manumu enko America no mu ko bobra na sika bi emrefia to abane mami uye bebo no ewa paso uye bebo no ewa desase uye bebo no ewa Newtown na pese utukwa me Pius me be ye we empia me di ubetukwa me di ubeko na me no me tise ampim na yamawa kwanya na wodi usako se udemrefem na eduma na yedi ase usase kwa nepa no ontumi ho ano twina obi foforo so embe ya usemi ntwe konongo kaya nintesa entime no uye bebu no na opese utukwan uko Germany uko America uko UK Uko France, baby, I will possess Ubekoviano, Upuamia, Misuminia Quenya, Misumebuao, Mebuao. And I don't know.
And you heard that the MP for Suajaman, Pius Hajide, he's actually the parliamentary candidate for the area. Just in summary, he says that to travel to Australia, it's about 18 hours. World Cup is happening, which is next in 2026 in the US, which is just 7 hours from here. If you want your children to go to US, work, bring in money, vote for me, because when I get the position, I will facilitate your children traveling out of the country and coming back with money. Pius Hajide joins us live on the line. Good evening to you, sir. Thank you for joining us. Okay, we seem to have lost him there, but we'll try and reconnect. And you're still here on Hot Edition on 3FM and 92.7. This is still Campaign Trail, and we'll be connecting to Pius Hajide just very shortly to have that conversation. He joins us live on the line. Good evening to you, sir. If you can hear us, thank you for joining us.
Yeah, thank you for having me.
We just played your sound there to you. What exactly did you mean by what you said?
Okay, thank you very much, Beatrice. Good evening to you and to your listeners. I wish to correct one misimpression before I proceed. In your narrative, you said that I spoke about my connections with the sports ministry. I don't know where that is coming from. But I never spoke about my connections with the sports ministry or any agency of state. And so we should clarify that. Now to the question that you asked me, where it is coming from. It is coming out of a realization that as Member of Parliament, I have a duty to serve and to be both a good legislator and an agent of development. A development of the community and a development of the people, moving them from one place to the other, upward mobility, horizontal mobility, so that they can achieve on their dreams and their aspirations. And I have met many young people in my constituency who have told me they want to travel outside for one reason or the other. Some have said they want to go and study. Some say they want to go and work. And others have said to me that they want to go and support the national team when Ghana qualifies for the next World Cup. And in my engagement with the community, I made pledge that as a Member of Parliament, I shall ensure to facilitate their movement outside of the country. And I know that we were going to deploy the rightful, acceptable ways. People will have to apply to the various embassies that the embassies of the countries they wish to visit, and go through the process. I'll assist them to go through that process. Some of them may need support in terms of top-ups to buy their tickets and all of that. I'm prepared to support them. And so I made pledge to my people that I will support them to achieve their dreams.
Mr. Hajide, by which means do you intend to support the constituents? I mean, you're seeking to represent them. You just denied your connection with the sports ministry. How do you intend to do that?
I just explained to you that people need to apply for their visas. They need assistance, even somehow to fill the forms and do the clerical works, administrative efforts that need to be put in.
And you think
some even need the resources to pay for their visa application.
Where are you going to get the money from?
Probably my salary. I'm going to earn salary, am I not?
MPs are not paid more than 30,000. I guess it's even less. How are you going to support a constituency filled with hundreds and thousands of people?
It's not everybody who wants to travel, Sister Beatrice. It's just a few young people who want to travel. It's not every Tom, Dick and Harry in the constituency that wants to travel.
And as somebody who is aspiring to go to Parliament, you think that is your primary responsibility?
It's not a question of primary or secondary. It's my responsibility to assist people to achieve on their dreams.
The last time I checked on the legislative or constitutional provisions, your primary job was to make laws. So how do you then go to a constituency to promise them, just a second, how do you then go to a constituency to promise them that you're going to take their children to US if you become their MP?
Yeah, I'm saying that my understanding of my mandate is to be a legislator and an agent of development. I believe that I've been given an opportunity to help move with my people, to help them achieve their dreams and their aspirations. If it means that I should organize extra classes for students, for instance, I'm not going to say that I'm a member of parliament to make laws. I will help them to organize extra classes. Let somebody come and tell me that that is not my job. I will hear you all right, but I will still organize extra classes for my students because I need them to pass their exams so that they can prepare for the world ahead of them.
Again,
and if I have a constituent who wants to travel, I will support the constituent. I'm not going to sit down and say that I'm supposed to be a lawmaker, and so all I will do is to go and sit in parliament and make laws.
So you don't Mr. Hajide, you don't find anything wrong with what you said?
But is there do you find something wrong with what I said? Do you find something wrong?
Is that the
why
best?
Should there be? But why should there be something wrong with supporting somebody to travel outside, whether to study or to work? Why should there be something wrong with that?
You don't think that as an MP, your focus should be on ensuring that we have the right environment to get people to invest in this country, to stay here and to build the country rather than to take them out?
We will do that, but that does not mean that the people of Ghana will not travel, broaden their horizons, get new insights and experiences. There are people from all over the world who are in Ghana for one reason or the other. Some of them are studying. It's not because probably they don't have good schools. It's not because they don't have jobs. Sometimes people just want to gain new insights and new experiences. It helps. Why do we say that we're in a global village? And I think that we should not be overly simplistic, and we should not be too eager to throw somebody under the bus. Let's be open-minded about these things, and let's be very, very analytical. Are we saying that Ghanaians should not travel outside of Ghana?
That's not the point. But for you to make it a campaign promise that we played your voice. I'm sure you heard it, and I'm sure you remember exactly what you said as well. That if you vote for me, and then I will help your children to travel out of the country as a main campaign promise.
The ones who want to travel, it's not everybody who wants to travel.
I get that point.
The ones who want to travel, I will support them to travel. I shouldn't support them to travel if they want to travel.
Again,
they want to go and study. They want to study outside. I shouldn't support them. They want to go and watch the World Cup. I shouldn't support them if I can.
Mr. Hajide, I think the argument is about really what MPs are supposed to do. And I know that you're saying that that is an extra thing you want to do, although you understand that your primary responsibility is to make laws for the country. But to make this as a major campaign promise. And I was just coming to...
That is your word. I spoke for hours. You chose to focus on 2 seconds or 1 minute of my speech.
Because people...
I spoke for hours. It is you. So it is you who is framing it as major. For me, if you ask me what the major issues are, you probably should listen to the 2 hours interaction that I had with the people. I didn't speak for 1 minute, but you just played a 1 minute audio. So don't frame it to mean that that is my major intervention. That is your choice as to what you want to focus on.
So there are a lot of people who are disappointed in what has been said. You disagree with them, I suppose, with your argument so far?
I haven't heard people. I'm speaking to you. I have received calls from my constituents who are excited. They have told me that, look, this is a dream come true for us. We want to travel. We want to know what is happening. We want to become globally competitive. And so I've heard people commend me. You are saying that you have listened to some people. I don't know who those people are and what their motivation may. Probably they are people who do not subscribe to my political orientation. They don't want me to be MP, maybe because they are NDC and so on. So it depends on who you are talking to. But as far as I'm concerned, I am dealing with the need of my people. I know. I've gone around. I've engaged with my people. I know what they want. And anything they want that I can play a part in resolving, I will do it. One of them being that my people want an opportunity to go out there into the world and become globally competitive.
Mr. Hajide, I just brought in the bit about how people are reacting to what you said. And I want to go back again to the constitutional bit. What would you say to critics who would say that it is comments like what you've just made that really destroys our local governance system, where you have an MP who is supposed to be making laws and a district assembly or a municipal assembly, which is supposed to be the primary development agent. Now the MP saying that I'm also an agent of development. government. How then do we do our local government implement that and ensure that it works? Is this really not an idea? Is this not an idea because you want to go to Parliament, really?
I think that the people are completely misinformed. They are unaware about what the arrangements of our governance structure is like. Madam, you are aware that members of Parliament are given monies, common fund, get fund, SIF, National Health Insurance. What is your understanding of what they are supposed to do with those monies? To assist people and to bring development to the people. You know that the assembly that you spoke about, the member of Parliament is a member of the district assembly. Ex officio, he's a member of the district assembly. And so you cannot remove the member of Parliament from development on the ground. Again, you know that the platform to budget and to make plans for the development, even infrastructure and so on, is in Parliament. So the MP is an agent of development to all intents and purposes. We sit in Parliament all the time. I mean, we sit at home and watch them on TV all the time. The responsive and responsible ones are asking questions about why development is not coming to their areas. Am I correct? So it tells you that in the development equation, the MP is an important variable.
Pius Hajide, parliamentary candidate for the Esujaman constituency. Thank you very much for speaking to us. Now, before we go, founder and leader of the Movement for Change, Alan Okwejo Chairman-Ting, has officially nominated Kwame Owusu-Danso as his running mate for the upcoming elections. This announcement comes shortly after Chairman-Ting submitted his nomination at the Electoral Commission today. Kwame Owusu-Danso is a lawyer and former musician. Now, his nomination is seen as a strategic move aimed at enhancing the campaign's appeal across various voter groups. And that'll be it for Campaign Trail here on Hot Edition on 3FM 92.7. And that's it for Hot Edition here on 3FM 92.7. My name is Beatrice. Thank you very much for joining us today. I did this with Alfred Ocansey. Log on to shrenews.com for more news. Have a good evening and do enjoy the rest of our programs.